there, and welcome to Neophyte.tv, the technology show for the not-so-geeky. My name's Tiffany Young.
And I'm Ben Friedman. And we have kind of a special show today. We're doing a review of a little product you've probably never heard of called the iPhone.
Yeah, I know.
Have you ever heard of the iPhone?
An iPhone.
It's been, how come there's been no coverage of this thing?
I know. People lining up outside of stores for, crazy.
So like a Friday and a half ago, people went out there and came out with these cool boxes.
Yes.
That the iPhone comes in, and we're going to take a little look. I know we only have 10 or 15 minutes, so we're just going to bam, right through all the things we're going to do with this nice fingerprint encrusted iPhone right here.
It does have fingerprints.
It does have fingerprints. Yes. First of all, before I even turn on the iPhone, and by the way, this is a 4GB iPhone. It was $499. We have the AT&T $60 a month plan, which gets you, I think, 450 minutes, unlimited data. And 200 text messages. What do you think of the form factor? Weight, size?
It's great.
Yeah.
The only thing I still have an issue with Apple is that I feel like they hold you hostage, like with their encryption on their music and such. And now you're held hostage by AT&T with the only service provider you can have it with.
Only AT&T, and you have to use iTunes. It's not like some phones where you plug it in and it pops up as a hard drive on your desktop or anything.
Exactly.
You've got to sync with iTunes, so no iTunes, no iPhone.
Right, and you can't use any of the features on the iPhone without a subscription.
That's right. You can't. When you get this in the box, it's an iBrick.
Yeah.
Until you activate it.
Exactly.
There's nothing you can do with it.
So your price is $499, and then $60 times 2 years.
That's right. It comes up to something like $2,100 or something is your contract amount. You know. Although I've heard about people who cancel their contract. So they're no longer paying that. They pay the cancellation fee, or they cancel within 30 days. But the phone stays activated. Now, some people have suggested that after 30 days, or when there's another software update, that you plug it in your computer, it downloads a software update, it'll deactivate.
Right.
But it's too new. We don't know a lot of those answers yet, or at least when we're shooting this.
We will find out.
Which is a couple of days before you're seeing it. Yeah. We don't know 100% what's going to happen there.
Right.
Just before you even turn it on. And there's so much to talk about here. Just a quick overview here. So on the top here, you've got the headphone jack. And I've got another camera set up here. I'm going to use this camera to see if you can see that to show up a little close-ups. On the top here, you've got a headphone jack, and it's standard. Now, I know something you hate about iPods is that every time they come out with a new one, you need to have a new docking connector or new this or new that, but not with this. There's a standard headphone jack, but the problem is, you see how deeply recessed it is in there? Almost all the headphones I've tried will not fit in there just because it's recessed and the plug is too big.
Yeah.
So they're coming out now with like a plug adapter that has like a thin plug and you can plug something else into.
Right.
So it is a standard headphone jack. I've heard about people who file down their headphone jack. So
I was just thinking that,
if it's like plastic.
Maybe scissors and.
That's right.
Right.
Got a volume control here on the side. And there's an on-off button on the top, and there's a button on here. And on the back here, you'll notice there is a camera, and then it's almost all metal except this bottom bit of the plastic. And the reason they made this plastic, I heard, was that this is where the antenna is.
Oh, okay.
And that's why it had to be plastic, so it wouldn't interfere with the antenna signal. That's why it's a different color down here at the bottom. So, the iPhone is really 4 different gadgets put together. It's a phone, it's an iPod, it's a personal information manager, calendar, contacts, and email, and then it's also an internet browser. It has a Safari, which is the Macintosh internet browser built in. So let's look at those 4 things separately, and we'll start with a phone.
Okay.
So again, you turn it on, you can press either of the buttons here, and you'll notice here it'll pop up my little screen here, and I can slide this to unlock it, and I'm sure by now you've probably all seen this 100 times. There's all the icons that are up here. And if you click on this green icon down here, you come to the phone. Again, touch-sensitive screen. If you want to dial here, you just...
Big buttons.
Big, easy-to-dial buttons. I thought, and it makes a little noise every time you dial it, too. Yeah. Little backup button.
This one gets a 10 for a cool factor.
It is. Now, if you want to, once you've synced with the personal information manager, you've synced to iTunes, your contacts, you can click the contacts button here, and here are all your contacts. And here's number one downside, no search function. I can't start typing in Tiffany, TIF, and it'll find Tiffany. But I can scroll through them here, and as you can see, just using your finger, you can scroll up and down. And then on the right-hand side here, I'm not sure if you can see it, are a bunch of letters. If I go to here to Y for Young, there it is, Young Tiffany.
Right.
So there's your contact name. and you can click that, and it pulls up your contact information.
Is my number on there?
Uh-oh.
Thanks, Ben.
I will blur that out. I promise. So we'll jump back to this shot.
I wouldn't love to hear from you.
Right.
But some of the emails I get are suggestive, and maybe it might be a little more personal if someone actually called me. So
this phone has Bluetooth, but
Yeah,
it's pretty much exclusively for the use of the phone. So you can use a Bluetooth headset, but you can't listen to the iPod with Bluetooth. You can't sync files with Bluetooth. You can't use it as a dial-up networking connection on your
Right.
laptop. The only thing the Bluetooth is good for right now is headset. That's
Okay.
it. And that may change with the software update or what
well,
have
you
you.
could still use that for meaning headset with your phone. I mean your
Headset
car.
with your phone, but not for your, or with your car. In fact, it works in the car. I tried it in my
Yeah.
car,
Okay.
so I can use hands-free in the car.
Right.
But it doesn't work with stereo. It's not stereo. It's only mono and the microphone.
And then your solution to that would be the little adapter, right? Just your little
Yeah.
fob adapter with your headset. If you
Yeah, that's right. If you want to put
Maybe
a wireless Bluetooth headset or a regular adapter, you
Right.
can do that. Now it does come with these headphones.
yeah, skinny. This is
Yeah, take a look.
skinny little.
See if we can hold this on here. You can see it's a very skinny little hole, and these are not just headphones, but there's also a microphone on here. Now this is kind of. By the way, can you wear these? I don't know about you, but these earbud kind of headsets.
My ears are too small.
Well, and mine are to something because they don't stay in properly. But here's one kind of cool thing. So you put this in here, you'll notice it's got this little thing right here.
Ah.
And this is your microphone, but also, if you squeeze it, I don't know if you can feel it, it's actually a switch. So let's say you're
that's
rocking
neat.
out listening to your iPod mode on here, a call comes in, you want to answer it, you don't have to pull this out of your pocket. You just squeeze this little switch. You go, squeeze. And boom, it answers the call.
That's nice.
It also has a little hole on there. That's the microphone. But it means that right now you're pretty much limited to using these headphones. I'm sure third parties will come out with them, but right now these are the headphones you have to use. It has an extra, if you take a look on the headphone jack, it has an extra little pip. One more thing about the phone part of the phone that I want to talk about before we move on is the voicemail. Is very cool. It has the thing called visual voicemail. So I don't know if this has ever happened to you. You call up your phone and you've got 10 voicemails.
Yes, all the time.
Right, and the fifth one is really important.
Right.
But you've got to listen to 1, 2, 3, and 4 before you even get to 5. You don't know who they're from until you hear it. This is a thing called visual voicemail. If I click on here, you'll notice that the screen says who the voicemails are from. And I have one voicemail on here from you. So if you were the fifth one down on the list, but it was really important that I get that voicemail from you, I could just click on yours, and it would just let me play yours.
That is very nice. It's one of my very favorite features.
Right. So it's very, very cool on here. You have this visual voicemail. You can call the person back and do all that. You don't have to listen to all your voicemails. You can just go straight to the one you want. So visual voicemail, very cool feature. Now, that's the phone part. And I know we're moving kind of fast. I'm kind of skimming over some of it here, but I want to give people just a general overview.
Right.
The next section is the iPod. And it is not as good as a regular iPod. It has some deficiencies. First of all, it doesn't have the storage of the big ones.
Right.
4 gigs or 8 gigs as opposed to the big ones that have the 60 gig hard drives or the 80 gig hard drives. But it has a beautiful screen.
It does have a nice screen.
So let's click on the iPod mode here. And I'm going to go in here and just search by artist. I'll pick a song here like The Coors. And I'll pick a song, Forgiven Not Forgotten, and it will start playing. It's the first iPod that has a speaker built in. I don't know if you can hear this. Let me hold it up. Now, it's not a very loud speaker, but it's kind of cool that even without plugging your headphones in, you can do this. And by the way, if you have like a dock adapter, like a Wi-Fi, an Apple Hi-Fi, or a Harman Kardon Go Play, or a iGroove, this will just sit in and play through those speakers. It has the same docking connector.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, one thing that this docking connector doesn't send out is video. So if you're used to putting your iPod in and sending video out to a screen, it doesn't send video.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So you'll notice on here.
Jeez, that's a big bummer for me because I use that all the time.
So if you use video out, you'll still want to use your iPod for a lot of these things.
Right. Which defeats the purpose of having all-in-one anyway.
Well, that's true. The other thing is you can't, unlike an iPod where you can just drag music from iTunes straight to your iPod and it'll just drag it over. Here you have to sync. You have to create a playlist and then choose in the preferences sync this playlist. And you always have to do that. You can't just drag the music over that you want and drag it back. Yeah. So you always have to be syncing the controls. Now you'll notice here I've got cover art on here, and the iPhone knows which way you're holding it. So if I turn it this way, you'll notice, flimp, it switches over now into the cover art, horizontal mode. And I can go in here and flip through this just like you would on iTunes and pick up different music. Here's Kelly Clarkson. I can tap that and go in here and pick up a song like Since You've Been Gone, and it'll start playing. Probably can't hear it again. There it is.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Not exactly rocking out with that, but
Yeah.
you know, you get the idea.
Right.
Yeah, that one's a bit louder.
Well,
Again, if I turn it this way, it'll go back to the other mode. And to get to, again, on here, there's no scroll wheel. So it's a little harder to fast forward and rewind like it is with the scroll wheel. But if I click it once here, you can get a bar up the top here, and you can drag that bar to wherever in the song you want to be. You were going to say, I'm sorry.
oh no, I was going to say, I wonder why they didn't, I wonder why they left some certain key things out. I don't understand.
I think it's because they had to get it to market, and I think they will fix these in the next version of the software. I think when the version 1.1 comes out...
Yeah, but you're not going to ever get video out of that unless you buy a different one.
You never know. I don't know. Maybe it's a firmware issue. I think they might...
think so?
Yeah, they might be able to fix the headphone thing, the Bluetooth stereo headphones. That could be fixed. The searching on the contacts could be fixed. So that's a... You know, we're only in to the second part here, and we've already talked about some things that's missing. Searching on contacts, video out on here, syncing your songs without having to sync a playlist.
See, I just wonder if they're going to be able to get video out. I mean, you said it might be a firmware thing,
Could be.
so
Could be
just an adapter that comes later or something.
Yeah. Or it could just be a firmware upgrade, software upgrade. You know,
could be.
Of course, where this phone really shines is in video. So I'm going to go over here, for instance, and I've got some videos put on here. If I go to video...
You and your X-Files.
I've got the X-Files on here. Let me click on the X-Files.
I didn't think anybody watched X-Files anymore.
Yeah. So here's a video being played. You can see
it's
through
Scully.
Here. There's Scully and somebody else. Go Scully!
Yeah.
Scully fan club. So you click on here and you can...
Can I find you like in an X-Files forum at like midnight on a Saturday?
You can scroll through. There's Mulder. You can scroll through here again. Now in video mode, you can't... You know, if you turn it, it doesn't switch. So you're always going to be in widescreen mode.
Which is good. Very good.
Which is good, right. You can do podcasts. For instance, you might recognize this podcast.
Oh, that is a really good podcast, by the way.
Yeah. So here we are again. I synced this just straight over from iTunes, and it synced over. And but I couldn't drag this podcast. I had to tell it what podcast to sync and sync one over.
In your playlist.
In your playlist, you know. So you can't. It's not as easy as just drag and drop.
So nice, though.
It is. I mean, that's a very sharp screen.
It looks like it's almost like high definition.
Well, it is higher resolution than most laptops.
Yeah.
There's more pixels squished in there than there are on most laptops.
We have a smaller screen to squish in.
Smaller screen to squish in. That's right.
Now on video, can you enlarge it? Like, you know.
I've never tried that. Let's let's see. No, you can't zoom in.
Curious, yeah.
Or,
there's a feature on this.
Well, we'll get to that.
Oh, I can't give anything away yet.
So I've got podcasts on here. I've got all that sort of stuff on here. As the iPod goes, now the other thing that the iPod does is photos.
Right.
I guess that's getting to the section you want to talk about. This has photos on here, but it's not. Strangely enough, it's not in the iPod area. Okay, which is odd because on other iPods, photos is part of the iPod.
iPod area, yeah.
So if you click on here, you click on the photos button. Bink. You can pick up photo albums, and I will click on this photo album, which is just a bunch of pictures of my family. And again, it will resize. So if I turn it this way, you'll notice.
Girls.
Yeah, so there's my wife and my oldest daughter. So depending on which way up you have it, it will resize itself. And again, if you just take your finger and you can pop them across here.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
it's very intuitive.
This is my little 5-year-old. Now, what's really cool about this also is if you get to a picture like this one, for instance, and you want to zoom in, you use what's known as a multi-finger touch. You take 2 fingers and you stretch them apart like this to zoom in. See how that works? And now I can pan over here just to see those 2. And if I want to squish it, I go like this. Whoops. And there it is squished down again. So you zoom in with 2, and you can zoom out the same way.
And it works the same way on the website part too.
That's right.
So
when we get to that.
Oh, I know. Jumping ahead again. There's this very specific order I need to be following.
Right. Now, it does have a camera here. Let me take a picture of you, Tiff. I'm going to go into camera mode here. And I'll take a picture of you. And we'll see what it looks like. It's a 2-megapixel picture. You ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. All right. And go back over here. And I'll pull up that picture. So there's the picture that I just took on the phone. And what I'll do
bad.
is...
I mean,
no,
it's
it's not bad for a cell phone. I mean, it's not a good digital camera thing, but it's a...
Yeah, actually, the resolution still looks pretty good.
Yeah, 2 megapixels. And I will we'll put this up on the screen once it's downloaded so people can see what the quality of the photo, not just from here. No flash or anything on here like some cell phones I know have flash. So that's really basically your phone functionality and your iPod functionality. We still have 2 more sections to go, so don't go away. But
and no jumping ahead.
That's right. But we'll be back right after this.
Hey, I'm Andy Walker. Have you just bought a new computer with Windows Vista on it? Or maybe you've got an old XP computer that you're upgraded. Well, we've just created an amazing new DVD. It'll teach you everything you need to know about the new operating system from Microsoft. It's called Getting Started with Windows Vista. In this DVD, there are 3 sections. 1 is out of the box, what you need to do as soon as you start up Vista. Number 2 is Vista Essentials, things you need to know every day to make your computer experience amazing. Antivirus, security, all kinds of new features that Vista offers. And finally, Geek Tips and Tricks, things you need to know that nobody else will have told you to make you a Vista guru. For more information, check out our website at gettingstartedvideo.com.
And we're back, and now we're going to look at the last 2 areas. There was the phone and the iPod, and the other 2 areas are the PIM, the Personal Information Manager, which is like email, calendar, contacts.
Right.
And then we'll look at the internet browsing on there as well.
Okay.
But let's jump over here. We saw the contacts when we had the phone, but you also have a calendar. You can press the calendar button here. I think it's a fairly rudimentary calendar. You can pick a day and scroll through it up and down. Here I've got an appointment on there. It says here to pick up my brother-in-law from the airport. You can go in and look at the whole month on there. It doesn't turn, you'll notice. So you're kind of stuck with that way. So the calendar is fairly rudimentary. You saw the contacts before. Let me jump over to the email. Now, this will sync with your email on your computer through iTunes, or you can enter email accounts like Pop or IMAP or Exchange. I use Exchange.
So does it sync with Entourage?
That's right, on the Mac.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't sync directly with
how-
Entourage. What you have to do is you have to sync Entourage to iTunes using the Entourage will sync with iTunes it'll sync with iCal and .Mac and all that stuff.
Okay.
And then you sync that with the phone. So it's kind of a roundabout
What about
process.
setting up a different playlist, though? I mean, how do you get that? I mean, on your because you have to have a different sync folder for the whole thing. It automatically.
You have. So are you talking about the iPod or the email?
Both. Well, I'm talking about syncing your email to this.
Syncing email is not a playlist thing, but but there's a separate tab in iTunes.
That's my question.
And so you don't get a playlist for your email. You just have a tab where it
The
sets
normal
up.
tab where you have your regular iPod.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a tab button on that says email.
Okay.
Which wouldn't be there on your iPod, obviously, but it is on there if you plug this thing in.
Okay.
It recognizes it. I'm going to jump over to email here. Click on email. And again, here is your list of emails, and you can scroll through them by going up and down. It's very nice in the way it handles HTML email, which our previous phones, the Qs, didn't do very well.
Right.
So if I pull up an email here, like here I was trying to log me in, you'll notice that it comes up here with the full HTML. The little graphic comes up on there. Let me do another one here. Here's an order with Amazon.com. And you'll notice that just like on regular Amazon,
again.
yeah, I was shopping. See, the order comes up. Now, if you want to zoom in, again, just like with the photos, you can zoom in, and now it's big enough that I can actually read it. Does not turn. I don't understand this. Emails would be easier to read if you could turn this like you can with the internet and the cover art. But this doesn't turn. You've always got to read it in this uppy-downy sort of mode. If you have an attachment, like I've got a PDF file attached to this email, this is an order for a video. If I scroll down here, there's a PDF attachment at the bottom. I can click on that. And there's the PDF, and you can probably see here it's way too small to actually read the text.
Right.
But again, using the 2-finger method, I can go in and zoom in to the point where, it is readable. So in a pinch, literally, you can actually go in here and then scroll around and go back to the messages.
That's
yeah.
funny.
So there's your email. Again, I have this set up with Exchange, and that's Exchange. It connects directly to the server. It doesn't go through iTunes.
Okay.
The calendar, Exchange has calendaring and contacts. It won't sync with your server. That has to be done through iTunes. So calendar and contacts have to be synced through iTunes, but your email can go straight to the server.
Well, you'd think so, because how else would you get your emails that are new, just coming in, your fresh emails?
On some systems, you have to, you're right, you have to plug it in.
Well, that's crazy.
Right. But it'd be nice if when Exchange has the ability to do contacts as well. So it'd be nice if you add a contact on your computer if it showed up on here too.
Oh, that would be
It
great.
doesn't do that,
Right.
and it does on our Motorola Qs. If I type in an email or an appointment, it shows up instantly on my phone. Type in an appointment on my phone, it shows up on the computer. This does not do that. It will sync your email through the server, but not your calendar and your sync. Again, something Apple could fix. They
Right.
could license the Active Sync technology from Microsoft, which hopefully they'll do, and they could do that.
But so you definitely can get you get your emails on the fly, just like on
Get
our
your emails on the
Moto
fly.
Keys, right? Excellent.
It doesn't do push email I think it does do push for Yahoo, but for most email it doesn't do push. But you can set it to check every 15 minutes.
Okay.
Which is,
Fine.
to me, it's just as good. So
Right.
it's checks when it needs to. But again, you can
Unless
scroll
you're on
through the
eBay
list
and you're
here.
down to the last 30 seconds of the.
Yeah, you got to be refreshing every second.
It's mine. It's mine.
That brings us to the last section of this incredibly fast, even though it's fast, but we're still talking a lot. It's taking a long time, even though it's fast.
There's just a lot of features to cover.
There is a lot of feature, and that is probably the coolest new feature that's sort of the most revolutionary over most other smartphones is the way it surfs the web. It uses a version of Safari, and you'll notice here that, for instance, I'm going to jump over to my Yahoo page, and we're on the Wi-Fi network here. By the way, it has Wi-Fi when you're near a Wi-Fi hotspot. You'll log in through Wi-Fi. When you go away from your Wi-Fi hotspot, you can use AT&T's data network.
But we're not near as fast. 200?
Yeah, about 200K kilobits per second is all you're going to get.
Yeah.
Unlike your Sprint or
Right.
my old Verizon, which was a lot faster.
700.
Now, you'll notice here, first of all, that here is, very good, around 700 kilobits per second.
I
So-
try to throw in whatever I can, just throw them off balance, surprise them,
That's okay. That's okay. That's great. So here's the browser page. Now this, unlike email, which wouldn't flip, this will flip. So if I turn that, there it is horizontally, and here it is vertically. And I can go and scroll up and down very easily like this. I don't know how well you can see that. It's kind of tough to see, but you can go and scroll up and down quite easily. And obviously, it's way too small to read. But what's kind of neat about it is if you double click on a section, it will zoom just to the size of that section. For instance, if I double click on this, let's say I turn this way, and then I'm going to double click on this paragraph at the top. Boom, it zooms in to just that paragraph, and now I can read that paragraph. If I turn it this way, it will zoom, again, to keep that paragraph or that column as big as you want. If I go over here and double click on my stocks, which are unreadable right now, blink. Okay. There's now my,
Which might
my
be a good
stocks. Yeah. That's a good day on the market. It's Nasdaq's up 12.
All right. Not so bad.
So and now I can scroll through this column again, which is now much more readable than it was before. You can open up multiple pages, but unlike most browsers where you use tabs, here you click on the page button, and I can, for instance, go over to another page here. And here I was reading. This is Gizmodo, I think. Yeah. So here I'm reading a Gizmodo page. And again, if I double click, it will zoom in on the area I want to read. So here, I'll turn it sideways and go in here. And it'll zoom in just to that column of text that I wanted to read. And I can scroll down here to the next column of text. So there's a bunch of text. It makes it much easier. So that quick scrolling is a very cool feature. Something we haven't talked about yet, I just want to touch on, is the keyboard. Now, our phones, the Motorola Q, has a tactile keyboard. It actually has real buttons that you can go in there and push. Here, however, if you go in here and if you want to go to a page, let's go back up here, and you click on an entry, it pops up a virtual keyboard. So it's not a real keyboard, it's virtual buttons. But it does a pretty good job if I went in here and went www.neo, N-E-O, and to get to the symbols page, you have to press this little symbol button, and there's the symbols page. Bink. Well, that's an underscore.
That really is a nice keyboard.
It's nice, but it's not as fast as actually having.
Are you sure? I think it's more a matter of just getting used to it.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. There it is. Neo, fight F-I-G. Oh, see, I hit an F there. G-H, am I showing it? Okay, F, and there's a .com button right here. But we're not .com, we're .tv.
Right.
So .tv. Neophyte.tv. Hit go. And here it is loading via our Wi-Fi access. Now, a couple of small problems here. There's no flash.
Oh.
Our player on the front page is in flash. So if I scroll down a bit here, you'll see there's this ugly box here
Right.
in the middle where there's no flash because we don't have Flash on our website. We use Flash, but there's no Flash in this phone. So any of the sites that use Flash, again, something else that I think will be fixed with a firmware update down the road. They'll release a Flash version of this software for it. And I think they just did it because, there's so much to get ready for the phone. If there's something that you want to see, again, in here, I can double click on it and it will scroll in just to that area that I'm looking at, which is kind of nice. Double click on it again and it scrolls back out to see the full screen.
This is like this is like a Apple phone tutorial. I mean, really. I mean,
well,
it
yeah,
is. I mean,
that's 20 minutes or however long we've been talking.
Of the features.
That's pretty much all of the big features of the phone. It has a couple of other things. Oh, Google Maps is a little mapping application where it'll find, like, I've got it set here to find Starbucks.
Well, see, do you think that's as good as like your separate little handhelds that you
GPS?
take?
Well, there's no GPS on here.
Oh, I thought it's like
no GPS. It doesn't know where you are. You have to put in a zip code if you want to find. Like I typed in 85234. That's
but it has that feature where in case of an emergency, it can find you though, right? Just like the rest of our phones. Do you know?
Only as much as another phone that doesn't have GPS. I think it'll find you from the cell tower type thing, but it's not. There's no. You can't. It's no. Oh, you're 25 feet to your next left turn or anything like that.
Right.
These are little widgets. So there's that Google Maps. There's weather here. I've got weather. It says it's going to be
150.
99 right now. It's going to be 117.
Very hot here right now.
Yeah. So it's got a few other little widgets that are fun. You could have gotten those in your browser. You could go to Google Maps in your browser. It's just a little faster to do it here on the phone.
Messed up. Well, I think it's a pretty nice phone. I mean, altogether, there's definitely some features I thought about buying one, and I am sort of on the fence, and I think actually I'm going to wait a little bit before I buy one.
One thing I just want to mention, I don't know about you, but I heard about these people that waited in line 2, 3, 4 days in line. I went down on Saturday afternoon and went to the AT&T store over here about a block from our studio. Hilarious. Okay, they've got those ropes that you have at the airport for lining up. They've got 3 security guards with like guns. Gosh. They've got balloons and confetti, and there's like 2 people in the store. And I went in and I said, "I'd like an iPhone, please." And they said, "Here you go." I walked out.
No, anyone snap your picture, no news, no helicopter cameras.
No, where was CBS? But there was no media attention.
I would expect there to be some article in the paper like, iPhone release is a dud, like, and there's been.
Well, no, and they sold a lot of them.
Well, they did actually.
Like
it's
half a million of them,
that you didn't.
But you didn't need to line up. They had enough to cover the demand.
At our store in Scottsdale, actually, we had line up. I mean, people were standing in line for 3 or 4
hours. But what about
hours.
the next day? The next day you could probably just walk in and buy one.
I know. Hey, I saw them on eBay for like $2,000. Did you see that?
Yeah, those didn't sell. I mean, and I think people who bought a lot of these to sell on eBay, they went out and had their friends buy a bunch.
Right.
I don't think they're going to make any money off them because there's just too much supply.
Exactly.
It's too easy to get them now.
And it's not Christmas time. They're not doing a limited release, right?
That's right.
Right.
Anyway, we must bring this to a close. This is a long show.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah.
And if you have any more questions about the iPhone, you can definitely email us if we didn't cover something that you're interested in.
Yeah, because you're not going to find any iPhone coverage anywhere else.
Right, I know.
There's nothing about it anywhere else except here.
You better come to neophyte.tv.
www.neo-fight.tv. Subscribe to the show. Send us an email. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And if you have an extra 30 seconds, take a look at this. In today's fast-paced world, it's vitally important that young people develop a good understanding of how computers operate and how the internet works. LittleGeeks.org takes donated computers, refurbishes them, and then provides them to underprivileged kids at no charge. It's our goal at LittleGeeks.org to make sure that no kids are left out of the digital revolution. To find out how you can help, please visit www.littlegeeks.org. Thanks a lot.